Bush Medicine, Preserving Our Herbal Traditions. And with me this morning, I have Professor Yuri Clement, Yuri Professor. Good morning,
Good
Professor.
morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
All right, so let's get right into it. Can you tell us about the Open Lectures Committee and their mandate?
The Open Lectures Committee, I would probably leave that to Prof. Carrington, who's going to come and set in a little while.
Okay.
But I'm going to talk about what I'm going to speak about on Thursday. So there's a public lecture on Thursday about preserving herbal medicine tradition in Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, when you talk about preserving herbal medicine, I use the word tradition, I immediately think about, what my grandmother used to tell me about, using certain herbal things at home, like back in the day, what they would do,
Yes.
Zewa peak for a cold and different things like that, Vervine and Love Vine and these things.
Yes. So there is a need to preserve that, because what is happening today is that there's no longer the oral tradition, and therefore we are losing that information, and we need to keep that, because it means that if we lose it, it's not going to come back at all. And we know in the past that a lot of drugs that we use today came from plants, and those plants have been used in a way that gives us a hint as to how it could be used to develop a drug.
And we've just been joined by Professor Christine Carrington, who is no stranger to the studio.
Good morning. Nice to see you again.
Thanks for being here again. All right, so one question I had asked earlier, but he said that you were actually the one to answer this question. Tell me about the Open Lectures Committee and the mandate.
Okay, so I am chair of one of the things I do is chair the Yuri Open Lectures Committee. And the Open Lectures Committee basically organizes public lectures that are open and free to everyone, where we introduce distinguished lecturers. We have a distinguished lecturer series, and we have a professorial inaugural lecture series. And it's part of the university's knowledge transfer agenda. Basically, what we want to do is reach out to the public, engage people in discussions about things that are important to our development and the development of the region, and to basically have some sort of influence on policy and showcase what the university is doing and to showcase excellence.
So with the upcoming lecture, who would be the keynote speaker or the main professor? Well, Professor Yuri himself.
Professor Yuri Clement.
Right.
He is one of our, he became a professor about 2 years ago, was it? But we have a bit of a backlog with our professors. Yeah. So he will be, as you said, talking on preserving our herbal medicine tradition. He's giving a lecture on Thursday at 6 p.m. So it's Thursday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. It will be at the Teaching and Learning Complex, Lecture Theatre A1. And we're asking people, as I said, anybody can come. It's free and open to the public.
Right.
And people can get more information by calling 662-2002, extension 83635.
And we could save that information and give it to our receptionist in the front,
Sure,
Nori,
great, fantastic.
If people call the station, they could actually get that information from her as well. All right, so back on the topic of the preserving the herbal traditions, you said that it's information that we are losing.
Yes, we are losing it at a very fast rate, because I remember when I was small, my grandmother used to give me stuff when I was sick. When I would go holidays, I would get a purge. But I don't know how many people nowadays get a purge.
That's
or
right.
How many people would use certain herbs if they get a fever or cold. They will go to the drugstore and get something.
That's right.
And it means that we are, if we're not careful, we're going to lose a lot of that information.
Yeah, that's right. Again, like growing up, same thing, my grandmother. I grew up in the countryside. And, in the countryside, you oftentimes find the elders, and they still have these traditions, and they still impart it onto the younger ones. And same thing. I had to be put on cooling, as they used to call it, and, go through the whole cleansing process and these different things. And I always found it interesting. And same thing you were saying, you don't hear so much about it anymore. And like with the older generation, I don't know if the information is just not being passed on to enough of the younger generation or what. So what you're doing here is something I definitely support.
Yeah, so what I've done over the last few years is I've tried to document that information, because it's normally passed on orally. And with generational gaps, sometimes that is not passed on. So I've done a lot of work in the public health sector, in health centers. There was a national survey done about 10 years ago, where we went to about 50 villages all over the country to get that information. So that information is gathered now. And recorded. Okay. So it means that 50 years from now, anybody could go back and look at that information. And therefore, it's really a a work to really preserve what we have.
And and to learn and to remember what Granny used to teach and Grandpa used to teach. And these things, because it's really important to preserve these things. Many times when people think about herbal remedies, the first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind is marijuana, but there are a number of other herbs that can be used, that are homegrown oftentimes for medicinal purposes. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, in our survey, we found quite a lot of them. In the national survey, we found almost 100. And they were used for things like cooling, as you said, for afterbirth, for cold, for asthma, for high blood pressure, diabetes, and there are lots of herbs that are still being used, mostly in the countryside. Once you start becoming urbanized and modern, you start losing that information. And we know that in terms of the healthcare system, it's available to almost anybody, anywhere in the country. And once people start using conventional medicine, they start losing that knowledge as well.
That's right. Well, they can get all that knowledge at the lecture. And when did you say the lecture is again?
It's on Thursday.
On this Thursday?
It's Thursday, the 22nd at 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m.
Yeah. And Teaching and Learning Complex at the University of the West Indies.
Okay, that's great. So thank you so much for sharing that information this morning. And I do hope that it goes very well.